All right, so you got your activation code, you've signed up and everything. Now it's time to log in. So this is my login info and we're in. So you're always going to start out in just a map with all these zeroed out, and you'll need to enter in a market. So here we go. We've entered this market of Tampa and we're here. And it's going to give us all these unique properties. I think this is a total. I think this by default starts out as a total of all these different subjects combined. But yeah, you can go in here and really your creativity is the limit here. So be creative. Think about different ways to approach different groups of people. You have so many different really valuable filters here to look through. I'm just going to go through these on the video here so that for those of you guys who haven't signed up or are not sure about signing up, have an idea of how robust the filtering is within Property Edge Pro. And keep in mind, all this data is being pulled from public records. So public housing data. So if you ever contact somebody and they're asking, how did you get my data? Well, it's from public records. So your mortgage information. So you got number of open mortgages. So if this person if you're trying to find somebody that has a property owner that has more than one mortgage out, different types of loans. If you're trying to find somebody that just has FHA loans or just conventional loans, for example, or just VA loans. Open mortgage remaining balances. So if you wanted to find somebody who has their entire house paid off, they have no more remaining balance, this is how you would target them. So you would have no more, you would just set it to 0 on your remaining balance. Total monthly payments. So you could find somebody that have a very small number of payments left. So they own a huge majority of their property. Interest rate types, you've got all these different types of interest rates. Maybe you're targeting people with a really low rate. So you've got first loan values. If they're a cash buyer, you can include or exclude any cash buyers. If they own it free and clear. So instead of just putting a number here, you can just say, yes, they own this property free and clear. Great. So their mortgage is paid off. This is also going to include cash buyers because somebody that pays cash for the property, they have no mortgage on it. Valuation info. So if you're looking for properties in a specific range of values, right? So $800,000 to $1 million, for example. Estimated rental income. So you're looking for a rental property here. How much rental income are they actually earning right now? Again, this is a great way to target property owners that you're looking to target for rental arbitrage. So if their rental income is in a certain range that you're looking to hit, you're going to be able to narrow in on those property owners very, very specifically and be able to, send out offers to them. So their gross yield, their growth percentage. So if it's a highly appreciating property, estimated equity. So again, you're looking for somebody that has maybe a lot of equity or a lot of growth in their property, and maybe you think it's going to keep going that way. Assessed improvement value. So there's so many valuable tools in here you guys can read through and see on here that are going to be really valuable tools for you to target homeowners, property owners that may be interested in selling their property. So you have an active lien, have active bankruptcy, so it has a divorce. So if they're in a situation, these are all really targeting motivated sellers, somebody that is motivated to sell their property. If they have a lien against their property, they have a chance of that. If they have a bankruptcy, they're definitely going to be motivated to sell. If they have a divorce, a lot of times people, when they get divorced, they sell that property, they split up the proceeds from it, and they go their separate ways. Most people don't want to stay in that property. Some people do, and that's totally up to them. But a lot of people, they have all the memories with their previous spouse in there, and they don't want to have those memories a lot of times. So if they have a divorce, great candidate for wanting to sell. And if you're able to sell quickly, a lot of times they just want to be done with it and move on with their lives. So that's going to be really appealing to them a lot of times if you can give them an all cash offer to take over their property. Lien released, bankruptcy dismissed, specific lien type. So you have an HOA lien, tax lien, mechanics lien, utility lien, solar lien, child support lien, other lien. There's so many different liens you can have on a property. Anytime a property owner is not paying something that is owed to someone else, that other business can put a lien on their property so that they are forced to pay out when the property sells at some point. So when this property sells, it triggers that requirement that the title company is going to enforce to pay out a tax lien or an HOA lien on that property title. So if people have these types of liens, it could mean that they're in a financially difficult situation that you can help bail them out of by buying their property, freeing up that cash so that they can pay these bills and other bills that they may have at the time. And then they'll probably have to downgrade their property, go live somewhere that's a little bit less expensive, but at least they'll be able to pay off all their bills and then be able to move forward without having a bankruptcy over their head, for example. So has an active lien, has all these things. We already went over that. Lien recording date. So if you want to make sure that the lien is current or recently sent out to them. The lien amount. So if you have a really big lien, that's a really big issue for them, and how delinquent they are. Bankruptcy recording date, divorce filing date. So you can get really specific here. If you want people that have just divorced within the last 6 months, you can target just those people that have been divorced the last 6 months. And they're going to be a really great candidate for a text campaign, just like we teach it in our program. And all of these people, all of these groups you can target in a text campaign in any geographic area in the United States. So it doesn't just have to be Florida like I've been showing you. You can pick any market and you're going to have data on those property owners in those areas. Include, exclude, intrafamily transfer. So a lot of times this will happen as a gift or more commonly as a death. So when someone dies, they're going to oftentimes transfer their property to family members. And a lot of times family members, they don't really want to maintain the property. So a lot of times they'll just try to sell it when it gets transferred to them. So that can be a good option right there. Years of ownership, if you want somebody that's owned it for a long time or a short time. Owner type, individual, corporate, mixed, or trust. Last sale date. So this is all just ownership information. But 168 people you can reach out to that were just recently deceased owners. So if you know that people are in that situation where they don't necessarily want to take care of the property, you can reach out to those deceased owners, find and you can reach out to the family of those properties and offer a way for you to be able to take care of that problem for them. And a lot of times when it's a deceased owner that passes away, elderly people are not very good at maintaining their homes. Usually they have a lot of deferred maintenance a lot of times. So that's another reason that can be a great group to target. So here we go, pre-foreclosure and bank owned status. So notice of default. So that's like the very first thing that they'll get. If it's in auction already, if it's bank owned, excluding, or you can say exclude foreclosures. If it's in an auction, there you go. So no matching results. So as you can see here, what it's filtering is you have deceased owners include. They own it free and clear, include. So the more filters you add here, the more it's going to narrow down your search. So if I go back here to go to free and clear. So we go back to a ton of properties. So the people that own it, this is just saying everybody that owns it free and clear. We have 117,000 people that are on this list that own it free and clear. And now we're going to remove that. And we're just going to say, and by the way, these are in probate. So that means it's in a situation where they didn't do their homework and get like a trust set up where they would be able to avoid probate. So here we go. 291 properties in that are So here we go. We have 291 properties. I think we had 120 under the last filter, and that included all the people that already owned 100% of their property. They didn't have a mortgage. So that means about a little bit more than half of this group of 291, they have an existing mortgage on the property after they died. So here we go, pre-foreclosure and bank owned. Again, we've already looked through all of this. You guys can give an idea of all these things. So auction date, pre-foreclosure. So a lot of times, if you guys haven't looked at auctions before, but when they're listed, they usually have an opening bid amount so that you can have an idea of what the price floor is going to be. So that's what this is referring to, is your opening bid. And then you have your pre-foreclosure release date and your MLS status. So you can do any kind of keyword search you want. Pool, 3-bed, well, actually you can filter it even better with the beds and baths as well. Listed below market price. Yes, we want that. So what does that mean to you guys? Think about this for a second. If they just listed below market price, well, it usually means that they either don't know what they have, or more likely they know it needs a lot of work. So it's always a great candidate to reach out to. Hey, this person has listed their property and they listed it below market price. Great. And a lot of times if a property needs a lot of work, it doesn't appeal to retail buyers. And so a lot of those people are going to pass on it, which means it's a perfect opportunity for somebody that wants to go in and do a rehab on it. Days on market. If they have a lot of days on market, they're going to be likely more motivated to sell. And your listing date and all that stuff. On market. Maybe you're going to do off market. And maybe you're going to have a max of 50 days on market. There you go. So a lot of filters you can do here, obviously. As you can see, this unique properties number, every time I add or take away a filter, it's going to add or subtract more. With your subscription to Property Edge Pro, one of the limitations is that it'll allow you, I think the max is 10,000 exports a month. So every month you can export 10,000 leads. So you do want to filter this down to some degree to get the best leads, because if you're going to be sending text messages to them, it's going to cost you a few pennies for each lead that you reach out to. But that is one of the limitations to be aware of. So don't just go downloading every list imaginable and going crazy with it, unless you really want to start reaching out to multiple markets and you have a team of people that can start reaching out to lots of people, which is totally doable, and essentially if it comes down to it probably just means we'll have to issue several licenses, which is fine. I mean, if you have a team of people, you've already got a lot of other costs, and another $50 a month is honestly a tiny drop in the bucket. Okay, so looking at here, property characteristics, we have all these different ways to characterize or classify. Property classifications. You got your property classifications here. Property types. Lots of different ways to classify these. So many. So as you can see, you can really dial in on just commercial properties. Let's say if you really wanted to find a commercial property, you can go in here and find, I saw like a drive-in theater, drive-through restaurant or drive-in theater. If you really wanted to buy some drive-in theaters, you can find them here, and you can really zero in on all those owners of drive-in theaters. And drive-in theaters, what do they have? A shrinking base of people that want to go see movies at drive-in theaters, and a lot of land. So if you wanted to look for a good chunk of land to develop, that could be a great place for, I don't know, like a storage facility to be built on. So maybe you go buy a drive-in theater with the intention of turning it into a storage facility, or maybe you section it off and one of those 4 theaters on the lot turns into a storage facility and the other 3 stay movie theaters. You can come up with all kinds of creative strategies here, guys. So beds, baths, building size, lot size, year built, home features. So are they going to add a pool, garage, basement, attic, all of those great things that we love so much. Unit number range, number of stories. So if you want it to be just a single story or a 6-story building or whatever it is, your school district, if you're familiar with the school districts, you can just say, hey, I know this is a really great school district that demands great rental income or great resale value. That's the school district I want to buy in. We're going to just enter that. Do they have an HOA or no? Okay, great. And we have here occupancy status. Is it occupied, vacant, or any? Think about this. If a property owner has a vacant property and they're renting it out, it means that they're more motivated to do something to change the status of that because they're paying for that and they'd rather make a profit than take a loss. So owner occupied, let's say no, and it's vacant. Or let's say yes, and it's occupied. Then it means that it's occupied by that owner. If they say it's not owner occupied and it is occupied by someone, that means they usually have a tenant in place. If it is owner occupied, but it's vacant, it's kind of a weird situation. Probably wouldn't happen very often, but that's essentially the owner's primary residence, but they're not living there. So that could be kind of weird, but there you go. And then here's a whole bunch of other quick list choices. So let's say divorce. There you go. You can do that really quickly. Find it as bank owned. And then of course you can just add any amount of filters you want on here. Bank owned, flippers. So if you want just people that are flipping properties to add to your cash buyer list, you've got 164 in just the Tampa area alone to choose from. So hopefully this is giving you guys an idea, giving you guys a little bit of maybe creativity to be able to zero in on somebody that you might want to target. And why is this creativity so important? Well, it's because there are a lot of people that use this software. And if you're going after the same exact group of people that everyone else is, here's what's going to happen. And I can tell you this from my own experience. What's going to happen is you're going to call through a list and you're going to hear a lot of people saying the same thing of, hey, I keep hearing all these people calling me. Where do all these people get my number? Why do all these people keep calling me? So if you can be more creative about this than other investors, you're going to be one of only a few people calling, or maybe the only one calling this property owner to purchase their property as opposed to 50 people. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this is giving you an idea of how Property Edge Pro works and how we use it. Once you've identified, let's say we've got these guys that are vacant. Let's say we've got these guys that are vacant property owners, and we're going to filter this a little bit more. I don't know. What are we going to do? Let's say it's vacant and it's listed below market price. Okay. Cool. So that means that they don't have a tenant in place and they've already listed it at less than market value. We have 565 people that fall into that category. Let's say we want to get all of them. Okay, so we're going to take all of these guys and then we're going to add them to a list, and then we're going to basically create a new list and we're going to title that list. So here at My Properties, you can select any of these, and one of the reasons that you'll see here that we only have a few marketing lists is because for many years we've used the other service before we switched to Property Edge Pro. So when we did that, we started all of our marketing lists over from scratch. So these are the few marketing lists that we've been accessing since we switched over to Property Edge Pro. And you can basically go in here and select anyone you want. So let's say Tampa cash buyers, great. And here we've got 1,275 cash buyers under the 200 to 600. So that's probably means that it was the property values are between $200,000 and $600,000. You can go in here, select the whole thing, export this list, and then that exported list you can send over to whatever skip tracer you want, and they'll skip trace that list and include the cell phone information that they find for those property owners. And then you can use that property list with the cell phone data to include it into a text message campaign. And you're going to be able to get a ton of responses from all those people. You can also just export a CSV here or do any of these other actions that you see. From here, you can create a new campaign as well. Or you can go over here to skip tracing, and instead of exporting the list and then sending it to another skip tracer, you can do all your skip tracing all here within Property Edge Pro. It's going to cost you a few cents, but any other skip tracer is going to cost you about the same amount anyway. So if you want to streamline it a little bit, you can use this service here, all built into it. And then over here, we've got all of our contacts. So these are contacts 500 of so it comes at a list of 500, right? So you're going to be able to go to the bottom, load the next 500 results. So these are the property owners for the most part. If we get down here, property owners of the properties that are in our marketing lists that we've already exported. So you can see a lot of data at your fingertips here through Property Edge Pro. And again, going back to my properties, these are all the marketing lists and all the properties that we've got labeled here. So you can go through here. Campaigns are going to be run through, once you've got new campaigns going. And through this tool, frankly, you guys are going to be able to just have such an enormous amount of data at your fingertips that I simply can't imagine a situation where you wouldn't be able to be successful. As long as you stick to it, you stay relentless, and you keep contacting people to purchase their properties. So hopefully this paints that picture for you guys of how powerful this tool is. And I haven't even dove into the amount of property detail that you get with each of these property entries. So here we go, property details, the cash sale information on it, the MLS details, the comps you can get. And by the way, you can actually use this to generate comps when you're trying to really analyze a deal. You've just got so much information here. Here you go. So the property owner here has 2 properties that they own. Let's see here. One's in Pasco and one's in Hillsborough. So this one they own free and clear. This one they still own 60 grand on. So there you go. Just so much, a wealth of information. You have the mortgage and transaction history, so you can see all these deeds, all these other documents and reports. So probably survey data. And there you go. Hopefully this paints a picture for you guys. Oh, and I didn't even mention the rehab calculator that's built into this as well. So this kind of goes off to another software. This is called Blue Hammer, and this allows you to get your estimated project costs if you're going to do a rehab on this property. So gosh, just such a wealth of knowledge all built into there, and such great marketing tools for you guys to be able to reach out to property owners and solve their problems for them. So hopefully this has painted that picture on how valuable Property Edge Pro is. And when you're ready to sign up for it, just click on the video that will show you how to sign up, and that'll walk you through it, and you'll be off to the races. So we'll see you guys on the next one.